It'll be great.
Oh, beautiful. All right, let's bring him in. Mike, John. Now, you guys, you have the chance to hype up the
This is peak SCA Dota, Jonathan. This is peak SCA Dota.
This is absolutely it. This is what I've wanted when, you know, we had rumors that Dreamocel would be back in. This is it. Like, NGX looks revitalized. They've been connecting a lot better. Boom. They go back to some specials here, of course, the Yopaj snap. They bring out this FBZ offlane Dawnbreaker, which we don't see too often for FBZ, so I'm keen to see what he does there as well. But I mean, core Pudge, like I can never cheer against it, even though I'm still very sad you can't kill yourself. Soul Ring is still my favorite build, but it's still amazing. It's still fun, and look at that smoke.
Certainly could be a big team fight to break out. FBZ already might get punished. Jhocam gets to dispose off. Earth is there. FBZ will have the Celestial Hammer to try and get away, but Dreamocel gets the hook off. FBZ's going nowhere. Get back over here, he says. Welcome back.
Yeah, dragging him back. He misses his teammate Dreamocel. Jhocam misses him too. They drag him back in. Nice first kill already, and they could still contest these runes. Could still go for a 2 for 2, maybe push the envelope, try for a 3 for 1, and thus look NGX is going to try to do that. And they're walking up with a Pudge.
Indeed. Try.
Cast off the lines. We embark for battle.
Yeah, I'm going to move in. Hook, it's on the bounty. That's all they wanted. NGXC. Not going to try any harder for it. They are going to back off, and I wonder what lane we should really start with here, Jonathan. It's a very exciting lane, but I suppose the top lane is probably where it's going to be. Dreamocel, Pos 1 Pudge with the Treant Protector to support from Boombui against Tim's in that Pos 4 Lion and FBZ in the position 3 Dawnbreaker. Jonathan, how does this lane go?
Do you know what's funny about this lane, Mike? You have 91 base damage in Boombui, 81 base damage on Dreamocel. So if you can somehow just run up and right-click, that's not a pretty lane. Sure, you don't have the best disables. Yeah, Tims can still work angles, get double stuns off. It's a 2 melee heroes up against Lion. Not too hard for Tims to line that up. But the threat of the right-clicks are always a bit scary. And of course, Dreamocel, it could always just hook the range creep, work the lane in his advantage that way. They are cutting the tree line once more, as we saw in game 1. To prevent Boombui from having that nice angle, but you can still go for a bit of a rundown. At least you have the Windlace on Tim, so he's not that vulnerable. Once the right clicks come in, it can be painful. And I think this lane, you expect activity by 2 or 3 on both sides. You can be aggressive on Boom once the Starbreaker's up with the chain stun on the Lion. So both sides can start to look for those early kills. It's all about really working the angles. Who can manage to sneak through the tree lines and work something out here.
Let's have a look at the other lanes as well, Jonathan. Of course, mid lane. Yopaj in that mid snapfire against AlaCrity on the mid Leshrac. But now favoring Yopaj in terms of CS, but AlaCrity has his own power spikes here on the Lesh. Another weird lane, John. How does this one go?
I think when we see the mid snap shine, it tends to be up against melee heroes. My favorite counter point for the snap was always Ember. Ember versus Snap just feels like an overwhelming win for Snap. Up against the Lesh, not quite as much. Lesh has really good wave clear, can stand pretty far back. The threat of Scatterblast and Cookie isn't as big for Lesh, and he can also threaten back with his own stun.
Oh, heals across the map. Boombui going to go down top lane as Tim's able to snipe him here on the Treant Protector. Nice little start here for Boom to even out the scoreboard. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, if you do have a look, there's a bit of a split situation going on here between these two. Mizu and Jacku fighting towards the south, and Skem and Jhocam fighting towards the north. Very, very split kind of lane going on. I believe Jhocam did pull a wave to get his level 2. And it seems like Mizu does not want to lane against Jacku on the Lifestealer, which I suppose is fair enough. Bit of an annoying lane here with the Jakiro. So Jhocam is going to run right into Skem, but it's just going to be a bit of a harassment trade between the two. Nothing to come out of it.
Yeah, it's a tough lane for Mizu. You don't trade against the Lifestealer really well. Jackie hits 3, Hula Frenzy at 2, with a Feast at 1. It's a strength here. You melt him, you melt right through him in a right-click trade. You've got Skem to kind of provide some good slow and good DOT as well. There's not much the Mars can really do combined. So probably the slowest lane for NGX and one of the better lanes for Boom coming out here. The top lane is still the one that is pretty exciting to watch, but even mid, you're seeing trades across from AlaCrity and Yopaj. Still rather even, you are seeing Yopaj pull ahead, just managing to threaten more of the Scatterblast and Cookie. But AlaCrity's not completely shut out, although this is a much slower start for your Lesh. So that early timing into the push doesn't feel like it's quite lining up for AlaCrity. And once you get some support rotations in, you have a Lion. It could be really easy to pile on and get that kill.
Absolutely. Mid lane, there is going to be a bit of a rotation. AlaCrity going to be all right. Jhocam, though, he wants to jump in. Dispose is going to be out. Split Earth, though, never going to fly out from AlaCrity. They saw Tim's rotating on the line, and they do not want to deal with two of them. Nice little attempt there between AlaCrity and Jhocam, but without the Split Earth to land, Yopaj, he's going to be just fine.
Is matching the aggression that Boom would want to meet down mid. So at least it opens up your top a little bit, prevents that line stun from playing with a Dawnbreaker, and allows a little bit more time to build up on your Pudge. Still allowing Tims to get a forward ward, has good vision on that area in the triangle on the top jungle. They are starting to clump around for these runes though.
They are. Mid lane could get very, very packed here as even Skem joins in on the Jakiro. Tim's going to make sure that AlaCrity cannot reach for the water rune, though Jhocam can and will do so. Even takes the bottle. AlaCrity handing it over, but now they might lose the Marcy. Jhocam's in trouble. He's still got the bottle on him. AlaCrity, well, he's going to be left without it now, John. Not too long, but I suppose it was a nice attempt anyway.
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, it doesn't work out, but it's a unique way of denying away the water rune, at the least preventing the refill. For Yopaj, he has double tangos right now, which isn't ideal, and of course an empty bottle supports can't quite just TP in and top him up either. None of them died. So you aren't stuck in the situation where you're about to approach your level 6, rune is still a ways off, and you're not going to be able to go for that kill attempt.
Mid lane, Yopaj still in trouble though, is going to get thrown back though. Nice cookie away from Yopaj and the stick charges. Do buy him just enough time as AlaCrity trying to land the lightning strike, can't get there. Could not get within range. Oh, even Tims and Skem now showing up to go back in onto Jhocam. They're really trying to slow down this Snapfire as Jhocam back in. Going to give the vision for the lightning to come out from AlaCrity. Tims, he'll go for a run. They have disposed. Boombui trying for the slow is going to be enough, and that's going to be another. NGXC really playing off the back of this Marcy very, very effectively. Finding two for themselves. One of them being the mid Snapfire. In fact, Skem almost in trouble, but not quite. Is going to be okay. Yeah,
that was very aggressive out from Boom. Yopaj trying to look to turn, but was really low. Again, out of regen on the snap and does get punished for it. Still, at least comes in with a full bottle up and should be able to hit that level 6 spike. You can start to threaten with kisses. But look at NGX, they just constantly clump up a street, getting the two supports out and trying to make plays. Pressuring on up top, doesn't quite find the angle. But they are taking that aggression here early on in the game. They're sacking their bot lane, they know the Beastmaster doesn't have a good time, so they might as well build up elsewhere. And if the kills start pouring in with a Pudge, you get to his flesh heap stacks up, it starts to feel pretty hard to kill off. Early Vanguard already up for Dreamocel is hard to melt at the right place.
Well, we'll find out right now, John. Dreamocel is in trouble. The kisses are going to fly in from the mid lane to Dreamocel, where he's got the Vanguard up. He's got no kind of magic defense to come in. Yopaj able to snipe him with the Mortimer's kisses, and Dreamocel, he'll be a big pick-off here for Boom.
That's the kind of kill they want off their snap. Yopaj finally kind of compensating for a bit of a back and forth on the mid, and you still enjoy this position if you're Boom. It's still free farm for your Lifestealer down bot, but Dreamocel is keeping up in the net worth, so you actually don't mind it in terms of net worth trading. Pudge is still managing to get that build up, has the soul ring up, so it should always have demand to make a play with, and they're also getting some room out for AlaCrity. They relieve that pressure on mid by forcing the movement top, allowing Net Leshrac to get some farming done in the jungle. No major stacks built up, and still allowing the build up into that Eternal Shroud for a little bit more durability and presence. You do have to watch your bot. I feel like you're sacking Mizu pretty damn hard. His timings into Ags is going to be extremely slow this game, and it feels like when we see the Mizu Brewmaster, he almost always rushes at Ags. Maybe a Spirit Vessel here and there depending on the game, but even that timing feels a lot slower here.
GXC really starting to group up down bot lane now. Hanging around. In fact, the income for the team fight with the Solar Guardian. They are going to find the Treant Protector, so Boombui has been caught out on FBZ. Able to secure the kill here for Boom. Big commitment for that Treant Protector, but they'll take it while they can. Of course, FBZ, he can always TP back towards the top lane anyway to address the creep wave. Too much really being lost here for Boom.
Dire's middle tower is under pressure.
Get a good movement out. With a Solar Guard, you're not the biggest kill, but you take everything you can get just to kind of get that start. They are clumping around this rune, though.
But they are. Ace Rune will be picked up by Skem, though JACKBOYS in trouble now, as the split is going to be there to lock him down. The Snapfire going absolutely nowhere as NGXC continue to try and shut down this Yopaj Snapfire mid. They are doing a great job of it. As mizu Gonna find the Cyclone out onto the Lion. He needs some help right now. Skem, he's gonna hang around with the Jakiro. In fact, they've gone a bit too deep. Tims is gonna be okay. They'll retreat on the side of NGXC.
Fortification.
They do force a bit of a rotation here from Jackie in the mid lane, but it may not amount to much. Still, FBZ gonna try again onto Boombui with the Ice Path. They've locked him down long enough. Skem will be able to secure the kill on the Jakiro.
They're starting to find some punishment for NGX going pretty far out, but it does cost them a lot of resources. You're giving this Pudge, who's laning solo, a lot of room to get the build-up into phase boots and the Ags. And I think that's the key thing for NGX. They actually don't mind bleeding out some early space as long as the Pudge hits its early timings. Has to be careful here, though.
Yeah, speaking of the devil, Dreamocel. Oh, he's not going to take long to take him down. Again, he might be a tanky Pudge right now with the Vanguard, but it's still proving to not be anywhere near enough as now Jhocam tries to go for a dispose out. Split Earth is there with the Pulse Nova. They've got a lot of damage, but the turnaround is out. Yopaj with the cookie. They've got AlaCrity down. And Jhocam will be right up next. They'll catch another. Tims to take this one to the Lion. Boom Esports willing to fight back with numbers, and it does pan out in their favor.
It's starting to really pile on. Boom knows they've got this early timing. They're not waiting for too many items up. They've just got a lot of nuking damage on their heroes, and that means they can start to apply pressure onto that top tier 1.
Look at this, John. He's got Dismember up. He just needs a hook, and they might actually have enough damage here for Jackie. Mind you, he does have that Orb of Corrosion, so he's a little bit tankier than you'd hope. Dreamocel is going to make the walk in. Does rot, but doesn't bother with the ulti, and Jackie eventually just going to pop the rage and walk away. In the meantime, while that was happening, John, top tier 1 tower does end up dropping the way of Boom.
This is what Boom needs to do. They know they're up against a Treant. They need to keep bullying out and try to take these objectives, preventing the Treant from stalling out the game too much, providing that space for the Pudge. There's no push threat coming through from NGX down bot. It's a Pudge and Brewmaster. They don't push all too well. Your Leshrac is not connecting to that lane, still focusing on the farm build-up. And Boom have found himself another solid start. 8-4, 2k lead on their side. There is some good farm upkeep from NGX on Dreamocel and AlaCrity, kind of keeping up with the top boards from Boom, but they've heavily stacked mizu in comparison. So I think the one big weakness of NGX right now is this Brewmaster timing. The Blink's going to be late, the Ags is going to be late. You don't have any sort of Spirit Vessel buildup, just straight into Ags for mizu, trying to get that Primal Split off. And that's a lot of time you need to buy for the Brewmaster. We have seen mizu willing to fight, though, whenever he has that Primal Split. So as long as they kind of play around that spell well, that could be one way for NGX to drag it back a bit. But it does look a bit similar to that game 1, where Boom has the strong start. NGX, their lineup, which feels strong early as well, just doesn't quite find the openings past the laning stage. And this is where Boom starts to shine. They start to line up those mid-game fights and keep the pressure, although they catch Skem.
But they do. Skem, yeah, a nice pick off there for Jhocam, who of course is going to be rushing that Aether Lens once again on the Marcy. Very, very important for Jhocam to pick that up, and he got lucky again with the Keen Optic, by the way, here, John. So Jhocam going to have that kind of crazy range with the Dispos, and you don't think much of the Keen Optic, but on Marcy, it actually feels kind of broken. Just that little bit of range added to the Aether Lens on top. It's just busted how fast she can throw you.
Yeah, we saw that in game 1, especially in the high ground. It was really just Aether Lens plus Keen Optic for a while, and that was still enough. Look at mizu do it. Does the split, wants to push in that mid with a siege creep, forcing a response out. They should still find this objective, and that's big for NGX to actually just clear out and open up the map more.
Certainly is. Little deny there from Depoy is now Cookie actually going to land with the Ice Pump onto mizu. And, well, like you said, John, it's a great objective to get. It does cost mizu his life, but it seems like NGXC, they were already kind of aware that that was a potential possibility here of that happening. Boom. They are going to smoke both supports up, try to move down towards the south. See if they can find themselves another target to set up on. And Dreamocel and Jhocam are both there. More TPs coming down. In the meantime, Boom focused on the mid-tier 1 tower, but Boom down a bot. I mean, they're still chasing Dreamocel. It's a 2v4 situation, but India Solar Guardian comes out with FBZ and Jackie along with him for the ride. They'll find the Pudge. In fact, AlaCrity going to be slowed down right to a crawl. On the left track, not getting out of this. Great rotations as now the Cookie is there. Yopaj right on target. A double kill out for the Snapfire. And this combo of that Lifestealer and the Doorbreaker always going to be very scary, as now mid lane Skem is at least going to get caught out for NGXC. They're going to find something. Yopaj going to jump in once again here on the Snapfire. Does have Cookie up. Is going to land it on to Jhocam. Disposes there, but Jhocam's still on the run. It's Yopaj, Tim's and FBZ all kind of chasing him. I think he should be just fine to eventually dispose away, or rather rebound away, and he does. They can't catch him in time.
It's still looking pretty darn good for Boom. They're finding the big core kills they want. Slowing down that timing for Dreamocel. Ags is still being built up. He's 400 behind Jackie, so it is starting to escalate here for Boom in terms of that Lifestealer getting its space out. And NGX still hasn't found a solution for that. Jackie free farming up. Armlet almost done on the Lifestealer is going to have a massive spike when stats up, and really well with a combination, the global presence you have with the Solar Guardian Infest. And for NGX, again, it just feels like a slower game. You're waiting for the timing on your Brewmaster, you're waiting for the timing on your Pudge. Your Leshrac is the only real hero that could probably play, although just the Hood of Defiance alone isn't enough. The Eternal Shroud Blink is a good timing, but the BKB really feels necessary this match with all the stunts on Boom. Boom, for their part, still aggressive up top here, though.
But they are. Jhocam being spotted out here by FBZ. Meanwhile, Mizu does actually go for the split out. Cookie away from the Snapfire, but the chase is on with the Fire Spirit, and not amount to much. Flying himself to get out of there is Mizu.
Is under attack.
Rest of NGXC, they're just taking the time to push down that bot tier 1 tower. They're more than okay with this.
Radiant's bottom
It doesn't seem like they're anywhere near the stage where they want to force a fight yet anyway. You look at Dreamocel on the Pudge, he's more than happy just farming, and again, Pos1 Pudge right now, one of the fastest farmers in the game. So if he can just keep this up, he is just going to out net worth Yopaj and Jackie at the same time, and might actually be a bit of an issue here in the Pudge later on.
And he starts to get durable. That Ag's Rot is massive in the middle of these fights, of course, as pointed out by Feardo. Lifestealer doesn't really mind that, so you still have
AlaCrity.
there.
That's a big pick off, John. Mid lane, AlaCrity's already gone. Jhocam trying to help, but could not do so, and well, he does get disposed off eventually. In goes Dreamocel with the hook out, at least finding Tim's as a trade. And he does save the life of Jhocam, but perhaps not the life of the mid tier 1 tower. Jackie's going to get to work, and eventually will have his way with it. And GXC still hanging around, but it doesn't seem like they're going to go for an attempt. In fact, it's top lane where they've gone. Infest is there on Yopaj as Mizu. Going to be chased down, but doesn't have Primal split up right now. Looking for a nice cookie. Is eventually going to find Mizu. Scatter Blast will land, and well, eventually, it seems like they're just going to hold on to this cookie just in case Mizu tries to TP out. Instead, they'll let Jackie do it the old-fashioned way. Like Yopaj, he'll take the kill himself. Why the hell not?
Yeah, the aggression is paying off for Boom. So 14-7, 2K lead stands. I think, again, you're kind of keeping up here for NGX. The disparity's not growing wider despite the kills. They find an opportunity to push bot. So they're equalizing the map control with the mids and the side lane towers gone. They've got access to each other's jungle here, and it's time to just build up. It does boil back almost to that question into the mid-game timing here. It does feel pretty strong for Boom, but again, if NGX hits a couple of BKB timings, hits that Ags on the Pudge, things can still swing around. Boom has to kind of keep up this aggression, start to constantly apply pressure in the towers, and keep playing around every time they have their ults. Every time Solar Guardian's up, you want to go for the Infest play. They have an opening for Roche though with the double damage on hand, and NGX does not have vision around that area, so this could be a nice sneaky Roche for Boom.
It certainly could be. Not the fastest process, but the double damage does certainly make it a little bit better. Well, Boom wouldn't even try without the double damage here. And GXC, bit of a missed moment, not trying to contest this Roshan. It is still going to buy more time for Dreamocel to keep that farm going on the Pudge, but not very good news if you are an NGXC fan, as they are going to lose the Aegis the way of Boom. Scan was out, but it was just way too late. Instead, they're going to try and force in the T2 bottom tower. AlaCrity, Max Diabolic Edict is up. Jackie's going to just TP back in. And that seems to be enough to force them back. Just one TP from the Lifestealer, and they don't want to bother.
And they know Jackie's pretty hard to hit. He does have maxed out Rage. That takes away a lot of the damage presence of AlaCrity. They're forced to just kind of play it safe. mizu is still hanging around with a blink though, but shouldn't be able to go for any big plays. So we'll see if he does manage to find that escape angle. The build-up is still coming through. Dreamocel, #1 and network once more after giving him a little bit of space to farm up, playing with Hook really well. Is going to have that ag sooner rather than later, only 2 parts away. 400 goldish. So again, once that's up, I think that's when we need to see NGX kind of pull it back a bit, find the openings. Yopaj doesn't quite find the Beastmaster, so it doesn't, the Brewmaster doesn't manage to get the cookie off, and mizu does manage to escape, but the lead has gone back down to equilibrium. Only a 1k lead for Boom despite all the aggression. NGX are doing a pretty good job of avoiding. They drop a couple of heroes here and there, but the big ones are still allowed to farm up, Mike.
My only question is, at what point do you feel like this POS1 Pudge really does get online, right? Like, I know usually it's the Aghanim Scepter, and Dreamocel now has that.
Is about to flounder.
I guess it probably is going to be safer, though, for him to just wait out the BKB before he really gets involved with his team. Even with the Ags up, without the BKB, you are somewhat of a sitting duck, and or even with the Ags BKB, you are somewhat of at a disadvantage here against Jackie on the Lifestealer. It was never a good matchup for the Pudge anyway. So Jhocam go for a bit of a chase now with the Jackie, as Dreamocel is there too. Look at the range on the dispose. The Solar Guardian, it's going to fly through. Starbreaker is there, finger committed as well as the Overgrowth. Going to hold them down. And the rebound movement speed. Going to let Dreamocel back off and reposition. Jackie held down there for a moment by mizu. They'll wait for the Brewmaster to stop with the split as they do catch him out. Another great dispose there from Jhocam, but mizu surely doesn't get out of this. He'll keep running, and in fact he does. It's going to be Jhocam to get caught out. Still very nice saves coming up from the Marcy. Boom Esports, they will stick around and at least get a tier 1 bottom tower out of this.
Costs them a lot of spells. Solar Guardian down, Kisses down. Not the longest cooldowns in the world though. Like Solar Guardian only about a minute off until it's back up. NGX does manage to avoid pretty well and threaten onto that Aegis. Still, you find everything you want on Boom. You find the objective, you find the kill. You've got the Infest out onto Tims, who does have the blink. This could be dicey for NGX.
Dreamocel, they know he's there. He was very low on HP there, John. He's going to drop on the Pudge. Jackie able to take another kill here on the Lifestealer. And it goes back to the warding of NGXC. They just haven't got the D wards off yet.
No, Boom are playing really well with these forward wards they have on hand. NGX aren't able to turn that around. They only have the 1 ward forward down in the bot jungle as well, not giving them the best coverage. And Boom can start to look to pressure those tier 2s now. Onto the top, Jackie goes, has the damage for the right clicks, FBZ as well. Has suppressants up here. And NGX doesn't have the team fight to turn that around. Overgrowth is going to be up in a few seconds, but you'd want the blink on Boombui first. So you might have to just sack this tower, wait for the blink to be up, play for the high ground, and hold from there. The high ground of NGX, we always have the threat of Hook and Dispose. So it's back to that same play from game 1. Jhocam has to pull something magical out here, and Dreamocel, there's some pressure to get some good hooks in this game as well, because that's their best play. Boom, 2k lead solidified once more. Age is still up for about a minute, not the most time in the world, but Jackie already working onto that Scotty Mike. 1 part in with the ultimate orb, 2 more to go. And for NGX, the timings on everyone else is just thrown off. Yeah, AlaCrity and Dreamocel are farming, but it's really mizu that I feel you have to be able to build up on. You need that double split in this game. You need to be able to jump in, disrupt, bait in, and then go afterwards for the second split.
Middle tower is drowned.
Going back to that Lifesteal Eye of Scotty, John, like you pick that up against the Pudge. It's so hellish to fight against this Dreamocel. So much slow. You're not getting away from the Lifestealer every time he gets you. NGXC, luckily, they're going to go for a smoke before this. Well, that item is up. What's the left side of the map? They might find Jackie. They're running right towards the Lifestealer. It seems like Jackie knows something is wrong, though, and does back off. And for NGXC, it's going to be a matter of taking this outpost back. Maybe just getting some more farm up. You'll see the D wards coming up from Boombui now as well. But a counter smoke immediately from Boom. They know exactly where they are. They don't even need the vision. They don't have the Aegis anymore either, but they seem very confident on Boom to try and force this fight. Mid lane mizu might be in position to break the smoke, and does on Jackie. They know the tree line's full of somebody, but mizu immediately going to back himself out of there, and NGXC doing a great job of recognizing there was a smoke from Boom and just sitting back and waiting.
just being patient, setting up for the tier 2 defense on the mid. They've got that blink on Boombui. So they have a good source of initiation. Now blink overgrowth at the ready. Could try to work that in with the AoE they do have with AlaCrity and some of that rot play you can get out here from Dreamocel. Boom. Patient themselves as well, holding the triangle, cutting off, knowing that with their smoke broken, NGX has a bit of an idea of what's going on, and they play it safe. Not pushing the envelope too hard in this game. They know they've got a lineup that on paper should definitely scale a lot better in comparison to game 1. It just feels like NGX have gotten themselves into a bit more of a tempo draft with a Pudge and Lesh, and it gets a bit tough to leverage that as the game goes on. So the slower pace favoring Boom, as they will just play smart. Just clear out the map, get some farm, keep building up this lead, and prevent NGX from finding those solo pickoffs they want.
Boom. Still waiting very patiently, but so on NGXC. I mean, this game, it's still very close between the two teams. 4K advantage.
Tower is under attack.
The win probability, though, going up heavily in the favor of Boom here. Again, the lifestealer against Pudge matchup, it just doesn't favor the Pudge whatsoever. You've also got a Leshrac that's just slowly dropping off. And as well as that, we all know what happens with this Snapfire pick when it hits level 20-25. That's to get a little bit ridiculous. Still for now, they'll secure the bottom tier 2 tower. NGXC not really interested in trying to force a fight yet again. Maybe still just waiting for the BKB timing on Dreamocel. Maybe waiting for the high ground defense to come. Just no real urgency from NGX to try and force a fight. It still just raises the question of when you fight them. Because again, once Jackie has the Skadi up, you're in big trouble. And now FBC's got a full Desolator up.
Alright, and his damage is starting to escalate now on that Dawnbreaker, which we saw from Dreamocel in game 1. Towards the late game, it feels like Pudge BKB is the big one. Dismember on one key target could maybe open up this game for you. Like, say, onto the Lifestealer when his rage is up. That could isolate Jackie, force a bit of some weird movement out, provide the opening for that rage to fade, and give AlaCrity the chain stuns he needs if you time it right. So there's still some counterplay from NGX. Definitely harder to pull off, but we said the same thing in game 1 where their best play was catching the ball in these teamfight spells, and they still made it work. Maybe this time they can try to do that again. Boom, though, again, not playing too aggressive. We saw that aggression punish last time. They're taking their time. They know they've got scale. They're being much more patient about this, and NGX has no way of punishing any small mistakes. Boom are just playing fairly clean, and in this farm where you are dropping off, the lead is building up slowly but surely for Boom. You just don't have that timing left in you here, it does feel like.
We're very patient. We saw this last game as well, right? Like, just patience game paying off. Boom. They do back off from the bot lane once again. GXC almost just waiting for Boom to make a mistake here, it seems. Accepting the position they're in right now. They're just not trying to overstretch, though Dreamocel show up down a bot lane, but Boom realize that there is probably a full team behind him, so they do back their way out. Skem, he's still thinking about it. Ice Path is going to be there. Into the Earthspike, another Solar Guardian. He does have his whole team right behind him coming in, but he is starting to fall low here. Dreamocel needs to dismember target. He's in trouble though. FBZ right behind him, and the kisses are going to land. mizu going to try and salvage this one, but FBZ just locking down all the spirits, and mizu probably also going down as he loses all his spirits. It pays off in the end. NGXC, they were behind Dreamocel, John, but they were just a little bit too far behind it.
Yeah, they definitely were. I thought Dreamocel would just wait a little bit more. Boom had some good forward wards. They knew Dreamocel was playing that area very early on. This ward behind the tier 2 area, and this opens up the high ground. Skadi up on Jackie. They don't have to worry about any hooks for 20 seconds. A lot of time to get that push in. And NGX, they don't have Overgrowth to even play with, so the defense doesn't feel like it's going to be coming out. At the least they can stall with a Fortify for the respawns, but even with, say, the Brewmaster respawn for mizu, no split. Your options are limited, and Boom recognize that and just kind of clean up the objectives.
They do. Here we go, Dreamocel. See if he can hook a target that'll kind of suit the situation as Jhocam. We hooked down to that situation. By Dreamocel, now that Starbreaker and the Ice Path Skem setting up perfectly. Jackie though, he's gone a bit deep. He needs an invest target and he's not going to get it. Oh boy, they've gone a bit too far. It was a great setup by Skem, but something happened in the middle of all that, John. And Jackie, he just ends up melting. Yopaj, actually still going. Tims, he's gonna get caught out, and eventually the Snapfire forced the blink away. Another great team fight here from NGXC.
It's always on the high ground, Mike. They find these awkward openings on the high ground when Boom just kind of commit. And we talked about a little bit about the Pudge into Lifestealer. Again, there are openings. If you don't manage to get Rage off, Pudge still feels pretty strong, especially if you're not actually hitting the Pudge and the threat of this member is there. Tim's even getting baited to cancel the BKB to help his snap, paying for it with his life. Might have been able to get a full channel off if he just went through with it. And suddenly NGX, they drag that lead back to 4K. They go for Roche. And this time, Boom's the one without vision here.
Wow. NGXC, I mean, the patience once again paying off as they just wait for Boom to make a mistake. Then they go for Roshan, second one of the game. Mizu splitting just in the nick of time to survive through the Roshan. Boom, they are making their way over. Very hard to get there. They are smoked up, just trying to get within range to do something about this, but it's too late. Dreamocel, he'll take the Aegis up. That's going to be enough for them. They'll back off. And I wonder, like, do you just kind of wait for another mistake to be made here from Boom? Do you wait for them to overextend?
Yeah, you could just hold high ground. You do have great D push with Lesh anyway. You have D push on that Treant Protector. You have great hold with Living Armor. You have that repositioning play. NGX are so good with the repositioning on Dispose, on Hook, and it feels like that's where a lot of their fight hinges on, just dragging them out of position, forcing these weird prolonged fights where Boom are just not able to play in the formation that they want to and get punishment off from there. I think another big spike here for NGX is going to be that BKB for Dreamocel. You already have one on AlaCrity. That was big in the last fight, but if you can connect with your Pudge BKB, it gets really scary, especially since Mizu also has his axe. He's recovered on the Brewmaster, still behind network, but that's the one big item he needs. Refresh afterwards is going to be probably the next bet, but you can be highly disruptive on NGX. I don't know if you really want to commit for the tier 2, although they are going in, playing tag.
Yeah. I mean, Boom still seems to think they're the stronger team here. Net worth is only 1k their way, and Dreamocel's top net worth right now on the Pudge. So they are going to try and force this fight. NGXC, they do move in with a nice overgrowth out from Boombui. They've got Jackie again on the Lifestealer. He needs some help, but he's got no targets to infest into, but he rages in time. He's alive. Meanwhile, FBZ, though, he was the one to get hooked. He's the one in trouble. Still running away, but Dreamocel right behind him is now the Solar Guardian. Where's he gone? Back towards Tims. Somehow Boom survived. Jhocam, the only one to drop on the Marcian. I don't know how NGXC did not pick up a kill there.
Yeah, just didn't manage to get the chain stunts they wanted to. The hook onto FBZ, I don't think that was the planned target. I think they wanted Jack to be isolated with the Dismember in that fight. Didn't manage to get the angle. Very awkward clump up for NGX to play with a hook. Still, they know some big spells are down. They can try again.
They're going to try one more time. No infest this time. Mizu will get the split off. They've already got Skem there on the Jakiro, so he's gone. Jackie forced the rage and run, but the chase is going. NGXC, they might be able to catch him with a Cyclone very soon. Cookie out, Jackie. Nigma going back in, but now FBZ's been caught out. Split Earth will hold him down. NGXC still going. Another Scatter Blast is there. FBZ trying to get away, but can't make it. Dreamocel, he misses this hook, but AlaCrity going to move right in with the lining out, but Jackie thinking about turning, does do so with the cookie out now, but the Dreamocel is going to dismember, just hold him down. Jackie still just getting kited around. He's going to back off as Tims. He gets the infest out, but the hook is there. Back out from Jackie, back into the team fight as FBZ, a big Starbreaker. He's got one. Boombui might be the second. They've got Dreamocel locked down. Scatter Blast out. He can't heal up right now. The Pudge is gone as Jhocam. He will drop to boot. In we go again. This time around, NGXC the ones to go too far. And Boom Esports, right through the mid lane is where they'll go.
Cost a lot of buybacks for Boom that they get to work. 3 buybacks just to even out that fight. So in the end, it's a 4 for 3. Does pay off. They worked for the 2 lives of the Pudge. And now they have their opening for high ground. No buyback on Dreamocel at this point in the game. 300 gold behind. And they should be able to find some good objectives for their trouble on the side of Boom. NGX gonna have to surrender some objectives. maybe go back to that same situation from game one where they'll probably only have one set of Raxes up and try to play against that. A lot tougher in this match as we're seeing some shortcomings in the Pudge core in comparison to that Dawnbreaker. And the side of Boom actually not willing to pressure. They just go for more objectives. They know they can't afford to put themselves in that same situation. So they need to clear out as much as possible, try to force the Megas. That's not something NGX can really deal with all too well. I mean, they still can, but it's not very comfy.
Yeah. They're not going to make that mistake a billionth time here, or are they? Looking to back off. Jhocam looking to punish. Doesn't get anything, but the Scatter Blast is going to land still. Jhocam gets to dispose off in time. Mizu does get the split off. Into the Starbreaker, though. FPZ doing a lot of damage, but a big overgrowth is there. Boombui holding them down. But it's only going to be to make sure they can't find anything. Yet they'll still find Mizu as AlaCrity. Back in again. Mizu has brought back. There goes Tim's with the Lion, but Jhocam is going to be traded as now Skem gets the 4-staff away in time. Jackie, he's the one that's been left over. Just slowed down as Skem is going to TP away. But they've got a lifesteal they can chase down. He'll go for the Infest players, AlaCrity. Right behind him. Looking to slow him down with the Lightning Storm and the Cinder Brew. Jackie, oh, he does get slowed up. He has Rage available and will commit it. He's going to be okay. I suppose in case they needed it, they always have the Solar Guardian from FBZ to make the jump in. They don't really find much here in GXC, but on the brighter side, they aren't fighting against Megas right now.
And they find themselves in that same situation as game one. Only one Rax left standing. It's not the mid, so a little bit more defendable. You have some angles on the side, at least a tree line to play with your tree. For Boom, comfy lead, 8k up. They're building up. All three of their cores are very evenly farmed. It's only really Dreamocel on NGX's end that has managed to get some good scaling off. AlaCrity's starting to drop off. Mizu still a ways off from finding anything else beyond. The Ags probably wants an AN disc this time around just to protect himself and ensure that the split always goes off. You do at least have this blink up on Dreamocel. So you have some initiation angles for the Pudge to take. You can just look for, say, a blink dismember to immediately isolate and that lifestealer before he can try to go for the rage, provide that opening for your magic damage to come in and try to play from there. Still a little bit harder for NGX to pull off. And Boom could just play patient once more, Mike. They could wait for the next Roche. They have the lineup to just kind of stall. We're at that point where Yopaj does have his level 20 going to 25. Silver Edge Shop, along with a DD in the bottle into the Daedalus. You have a lot of big damage coming through from Boom in comparison.
5-man smoke up, John. They're going to move right in, it seems. High ground advantage for NGXC right now. They do show Jackie can have his smoke broken. Dreamocel will make a blink in. Neither team initiating yet. They're just not seeing the angle. Dreamocel hook out. Is going to be completely blind and doesn't land. That'll be it. Smoke broken. Neither team gets the initiation they wanted. I mean, both of them back off. There is an AK advantage to Boom, but you can tell they don't feel 100% safe here against NGXC, and you can't quite blame them. This Pudge is still a massive, massive issue. GX, they'll just remain patiently in the mid lane. And it's the game plan for NGXC. Just wait for Boom to make an error. That's all it is.
Just wait for an opening, play with a repositioning spells you have, play with a disruptiveness that you have in your team fight, and try to capitalize when Boom does maybe leave a hero exposed.
Mizu? Vision down, Mizu. He thinks about going for the split, but only the Thunderclap comes out. I mean, perhaps for both teams, you're just kind of waiting for Roshan now, John. Still 20 seconds till we find out when it is respawning, but you could get very lucky and hope for an early timer. That would definitely force the fight between both these teams. We'll find out very soon when it's coming.
Gonna be quite the Roshan. Both sides can't afford to give that one away. And GX, they are just playing their top jungle. They should have a good idea of when it does go off. Half a minute for that Roche here, Mike. That should be the launching point for both sides. Build-up is still coming through for both sides as well. FBZ has his Basher up, so we're at that point where the Dawnbreaker does feel pretty scary. You know, level 20 talent up as well.
Dreamocel gets a hook. Jackie, he was the one hook, but that's the last target he wants. You don't want to deal with the lifestealer. Anybody else would have been fine.
You force the rage out, you can't really capitalize on it. Jackie actually does have a BKB as well. Knowing that the rage is not going to be enough to keep him alive in these fights, more spell immunity just canceling off the output of both the Pudge and the Lesh is actually pretty nice. And Roshan does spawn. Boom is right next to it. Again, NGX on the high ground should have a good idea of when it does happen. They've got the vision. So it's not the cleanest time for Boom to go for it, and they will just play it safe, back off, not give an opening, and maintain their lead. NGX themselves actually doesn't feel like they can get aggressive. Boom are just constantly staying plumped up. So we've got a bit of a stalemate scenario, Mike. Just both sides waiting for something.
Keep in mind, you're reaching that point now with the Snapfire as well, as about to reach that level 25 mark, John. Level 23 for now, but once you get that 25 talent up, he's already got the Silver Edge available, so you're basically going to be dealing with another, second-hand kind of carry in some sense. With all the amount of right-click he can deal with the Snap. We've seen it so many times from JACKBOYS, just waiting for the 25 mark and just having that added damage they need. In GXC, I don't see any real big timings for themselves here. Their own draft, but again, it does seem to be all about the next Roshan as Boom trying to move in and catch somebody from NGXC, but they are just so patient. They want the counter initiate every single team fight. And Boom, they don't seem to know how to deal with it. Like, you've got to play the patience game back, but you don't want to just keep dragging the game out forever.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this scenario in game 1 as well. Do you remember that little smoke play they had into the mid push? That's when they got heavily punished. I don't think they're looking to get aggressive that way again, so it's just leading to this. Just patience game from both sides, an arms build up for both sides. It does feel like, as you pointed out, Boom feels a lot better with Yopaj scaling into that late game. He's going to have that full Daedalus. He's going to have his level 25 talent. He can rip through the Brewlings, even though you do have your level 20 talent as well. It's not going to be enough for mizu to kind of survive through. So the presence does start to fade away from NGX and all of their heroes. But again, they're doing a good job of holding back. They're doing a good job of still keeping that farm in Dreamocel. It just feels like the investment on the Pudge might not be enough. They check the Roche. They know it's up. There is a ward watching. They know where Jhocam's at. They could look to punish.
Celestial hammer in, but that's not going to see much. Jhocam within the fog of the Roshan pit, and this is a very interesting position for Jhocam to sit in because they can't see him unless they're right next to him. Jackie's going to jump in. They have no idea Jhocam was there, so he'll walk up, but now they see he was there as Jhocam going to go back in, but this time Jackie can't believe his eyes. We'll see him this time around. Dreamocel, hook in, not going to land. Be a bit of a fun mechanic, John, if you could just hook Roshan. Be amazing.
Oh god, that's. I believe there was a time when Roche was pugged and you could reposition him. I don't think it was pugged though, but that was funny times because he
that happened recently.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean that was the mid one, but a long time ago you could kind of cliff him with say NP and Sprout, if I remember, and then he couldn't walk down and you just couldn't take Roche because he was invulnerable. Yeah. So you just kind of remove Roshan for the entire game. I remember that was a long time ago. Jesus.
Good old days. Jhocam's still in that position. Like, he can just rebound out every time he needs it. Jackie's going to walk up and realize he's there again, but disposes out. Dreamocel. Again, he doesn't want the Lifestealer first. Anybody but the Lifestealer, and they'll be happy. Just not the Lifestealer first. Roshan. Not taking too long to get done. Jhocam almost blocking the hook. Pretty much everyone got buyback available apart from Jhocam right now, but he's only 50 gold short. Roshan's still dropping very low. Dreamocel needs a hook very soon, but it's too late. Aegis up on Jackie. Give JACKBOYS the Aghanim Scepter Blessing, and there's your gobble up play. Jackie right in onto Jhocam. Rebound is available, but no, they have the Hex. Tims, he'll get there in time to lock him down. And now there's a new element to this game, John. You've got to play against Gobble Up with a Lifestealer on your team.
Yeah, I mean, you could infest someone, get gobbled up, and then that's 2 heroes on top of you. You could infest someone else, Solar Guardian in, and 3 heroes instantly on top of you. That's a scary prospect. Ooh, hook blocked.
Whoopsie.
mizu.
You're having a bit of a chat to mizu after this game, I'm sure. Dreamocel won't be too happy about that one. Well, it looks like they want to go high ground. I mean, they've got 2 lives, they've got an Ag's Blessing, they've got a cheese. They've got everything they could ask for, apart from a refresher shard. You get one nice gobble up play. It's not going to take too long for Jackie to wipe them out. Nice stun though, AlaCrity. Down Jackie as there is going to be a gobble up right into mizu, but the hook is there onto FBZ and the Starbreaker. It lands on the Dreamocel. Still, they do toss him back, but Jackie's going to try and help out with the Infest. It's not enough though, Jackie.
Whoa.
And FBZ going to drop the rot damage way too high. And now he's been left alone. He'll have to BKB TP out, but the overgrowth is there. Oh, but not again. Oh, little shredder though. Jhocam going to come back in and fight. Jackie, he'll turn around now. Jhocam, he's on a triple kill. FBZ, he bought back for this, but this might be the final team fight of NGXC. They're not too careful, but they're still trying onto Jackie. They want that live sealer who's been left alone again. Meanwhile, Dreamocel going right in, but the Ice Path's going to hold him and Jhocam down. FBZ looking to move back in again. Who are they aiming though? It's going to be Dreamocel on the punch, who goes for dismember with the Starbreaker. Going to cancel it off, and now they've got the punch held down. Dreamocel, he's not getting out of this one. It's a dieback on the punch. AlaCrity gonna keep going. Boombui, he'll do the same, but the Infest is gonna keep them all healed up. Scatterblast stunning too. They've got Boombui, they've got AlaCrity, and they should have mizu. GG is called. Boom Esports, they will force this to a game number 3.
Yeah, much more disciplined out from Boom. They don't get too hasty when the game goes too slow. They wait for NGX to get bored. They get the punishment, they jump in, they know they outscale the side of NGX with the heroes they have on.